Education Ministry,
and there's a Creative Arts Ministry,
the Chilling Ministry.
And there are
what do you think it is only recreation he can do?
And there are boards.
But the man is an entertainer. What today we expect of him?
But beyond the entertainment, behind the microphone and things.
Sisters wants to take the medical doctor to the Education Ministry. He wants to take the dentist to the
I was not here, some.
I didn't come to work.
The station is not open.
But you know, so far the president has made some 22 appointments.
Yeah. In fact, 25 out of the 60. We are
I'm boxing everything together. The CEOs and then the ministers. I believe the ministers that he committed to 60.
Right.
As for the CEOs, we know that if he is not collapsing some of the SOEs, and then
why do I feel pressed before you say this? Let's play this prayer.
There are certain conversations ever up in our national discourse. Such as the way forward for the ECG, electricity, energy sector, the legacy debt, energy sector, how to handle the power producers. Another conversation is the reintroduction of public tribunals. The review of the free SHS policy. And the possible amendment of the Constitution and others. Now, Isaiah 40:10 says he knows the end from the beginning. Amen. So we want to ask God to guide us by his unerring spirit. Free on open the
beg.
Sisters,
it's okay. Jesus has heard the prayer.
Amen.
ECG is resurrected.
Lord,
this prayer, you will not have them so again.
And let our cry come unto thee. Amen.
So I was talking about CEOs.
Yeah, no, but this ECG matter is very important.
Yeah.
We have to
pray for the CEOs.
Yeah.
See, they are just taking office.
Yeah.
The CEOs, ministers, Aglo. So it's once a month.
Yeah,
right?
once a month. So next month. But this month they didn't pray for them. But we'll fast towards the next meeting. Eduji.
So confirmed list of acting CEOs and MD appointments. There's Wisdom Yaira Koku Deku, NIA, National Identification.
Do you know Yaya Koku's story? He was at NIA.
Yeah.
When Kenneth Tifua came, then they sacked him.
2017.
Yes. Now his boss at the place. Can you imagine if he becomes vindictive?
Kenneth Tifua was instructed to hand over to him.
Yes.
Then Kenneth Tifua said, "No, I have retired already.
I'm not here. Can you imagine what if he becomes vindictive? Can you imagine what he could do at the NIA to people who he felt?
All those who were. No, but please.
Let's get Aglo to
focus
pray
on
for him.
the job.
Aglo has to pray for Yaira so he doesn't become vindictive. Bonsem na bompai.
Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, Esquire, National Petroleum Authority.
Hey, it's a big man. So Dr. Mustafa Hamid will hand over to him.
Yes, Mustafa Hamid.
Oh wow, I see.
Inshallah.
We'll have to rescue this country.
Don't cry. No, don't cry.
I'm trying not to.
Don't cry.
Edward Bauer.
Abambere. Bauer.
Yeah, I don't know why. It seems it's so hard for people, so they normally skip it. Edward
Abambere
Bauer.
Right. That's
Ghana
the name.
National Petroleum Corporation. GNPC.
He's a big man. Hey.
Professor Nana Makluche.
Brown Kluche, the lady who came here.
We hosted her.
Yes. NDC professional.
Yeah, the professionals.
Women,
Yeah.
something.
They're advocating for more women to be appointed.
But now she has gotten it. The way John Mahama is going, he may even hit the 30% and cross the bar.
Oh yeah. Now there are about 8 women in all, or 9, out of all the appointments.
Yeah,
announced
out
so
of
far.
25, there are 8 women.
8 women.
That's the number he's keeping.
That's-
Some men will not be
congratulations
happy,
to Mr.
but we
President.
don't care.
So Professor Nana Ama Kluche, you heard her
Brown
last
Kluche.
week
Brown
on this
Kluche.
same show.
Right, she's coming
She's heading.
Please, we don't want any trouble.
I don't think so. No. She's heading the Environmental Protection Agency.
EPA. EPA.
Victoria MFA Hardcastle Esquire.
The name that she has hidden from us, Victoria. Now we know
now
it.
we know it.
Council, good morning to you. Victoria MFA
heading-
Hardcastle.
She's going to head the Petroleum Commission. Afechi. Or Afechi?
Afechi is going to bust or best?
Please, we still call it Bust.
Afechi
Awono.
Awono. Yeah, that's
Yes.
Professor Awono's son.
Son, yes. Then Sami Jemfi Esquire. Minerals Commission Marketing Company
PMMC.
with an additional responsibility to set up gold board.
Hey,
Like cocoa board.
is it good for oil?
No.
Okay, it's different.
You need a
Sunrise
board
on
that can
3
Oh, we've
a.m.
seen good for oil before. The way,
But it's still there. The policy is still there.
doing what?
It hasn't been revoked. President Mahama hasn't announced the
But
revocation.
fuel
of
prices
the
have
policy.
just gone up again.
That just the NDC's criticism of the
Good for oil.
policy, it affected the growth of
The
the
growth of
policy.
it.
Just talking at the policy affected it.
NDC's criticism of
I thought
e-levy
you were
affected e-levy.
All of them.
Criticism of gold for oil affected gold for oil.
President Akufo-Addo said, "L'argent what?"
L'argent n'aime pas les bruits.
So il avait l'argent les bruits.
Justina, depending on the school you went to, Nelson, she goes to Minerals Income Investment Fund.
MIIF.
MIF. And Mohammed Abdul Salam heads the National Lottery Authority. Okay, I will not say. Dr. Kwekwe Siedo Nketia, Deputy CEO, Minerals Income Investment.
That's a Sidukite's son.
Yes.
Hey, your father has to be a big man for you to be seen.
Yes.
They say right now the way the appointment is going, if you don't have professor or doctor,
Forget about it.
now you're not doing Mr.
No. We have gone past it.
But it's true. The names I'm coming to mention, though, you
Esquire
see,
and things.
you are not Esquire, you are not doctor.
You're not doctor.
You are not the seat of
Professor, forget about it. You'll
So-
be there, then the appointment will finish.
to this one. Honorable Dr. Kessel Atuba Fossa,
Fantastic. Finance Minister
Minister
designate.
for Finance designate. Honorable Dr. De John Jinapo.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get doctor, I get
Honorable
PhD.
Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo,
Minister for Energy.
Honorable Dr. Dominic Akrintega. The guy was insulting me over this name. Attorney General and Minister for Justice designate. Honorable Esquire Haruna Idrisu, Minister for Education.
Fantastic. If you don't have some.
Honorable.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric Opoku, I don't know.
No, he's not the doctor.
He is not. Okay, so honorable.
He's a senior mister.
Honorable Senior Mr. Experienced Eric Opoku, Minister for Food and Agriculture.
Yeah.
The rest is they said the food.
Because we want our mouths to be full.
What's the food?
It's the food.
Honorable Engineer Kwame Gavins Aboja.
Right.
No, not engineer.
He's an architect.
Architect.
Yeah.
Kwame Aboja,
Right.
Minister for Roads and Highways. Honorable.
Temamoto.
Why is that one on your mind?
The way I've spoken about Temamoto, if he does not do something,
The work has to happen.
something
Please.
will do him.
Okay, the way we are talking about Bole Bamboy Road, Minister designate.
Do something.
We are all watching you.
Yeah. You have to do something.
Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, the Chief Whip,
Right.
Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs designate.
Okay.
Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ajare,
Esquire.
Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry.
Okay.
Trade and industry alone, wahala. Now they've added agribusiness to it.
You do have a couple do have.
Honorable Mamaga Abla Jifa Gomashi.
Mama Dramedo.
Tourism. Or I meant to say tourism.
It's tourism.
Culture and creative arts.
Right.
Honorable Dr. Agnes Na Momo Latte.
Charlie, but the thing is serious. If you are not a doctor or a lawyer,
serious.
You have worked in vain.
No, but please, NDC used not to be like this. NDC was for the boys.
Go to school, you don't go to school.
You don't go to school. They say go to school. You say you don't go to school. Now they are sharing the post. You are not getting some. They go to school. You don't go to school. Go to school.
For some people, it's too late.
In fact,
but no, you have the experience.
No, you will go to school. We will force you to go. We'll pay your school fees.
There's a comment from Musa Dankwae. I'll read it to you about the use of the people who are being appointed right now, who they are and all of that.
Okay,
So this is what Musa Dankwa says. It says these level of appointments are not meant for those who campaign most. Please hold your breath. Those for your level will come later. Be prepared for disappointment too.
Who sent him?
It's a serious matter.
Right now, no, your Mr. Brother level. Right now, lawyer, Esquire, Doctor, Professor, Emeritus, and
it's a serious matter. So, Honorable Dr. Agnes Na Momo Latte is going to Gender, Children, and Social Protection. Honorable Emilia Arthur, this is a former regional minister.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
From
for
Central Region. No, it's a new regional minister. She's an MP.
No. She's fisheries and aquaculture, but she had a position in the other Mahama administration. So Mahama won. I think Emilia Arthur. The name was it Central or Bono region?
Central. Yeah, she's fancy. Let's connect with Justice Abdullah on the phone line.
Okay.
Counsel, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good morning.
Good to hear from you. Yes, sir.
Great being with you.
The new constitutional review team that has been put up, what are your thoughts about the team?
My initial thoughts were a bit of confusion as to the position of Professor Prempe.
H. Kwesi Prempe, right.
Yes, who had initially strongly opposed the procedure that was adopted by the Mills administration,
the best in the morning,
originating the processes to set up the review process using a commission of inquiry. I remember at the time he strongly, together with Professor Sari, wrote a series of articles denouncing the president's position and calling for Parliament rather to take the driving seat for the amendment procedure. My position at the time was that the Constitution was really not clear as to, or possibly silent as to, who initiates an amendment procedure, particularly when it comes to the entrenched provisions.
Right.
When it comes, with regards to the non-entrenched provisions, it appears quite clear that because every bill must come from the Attorney General, or i.e. the executive, my position was that the non-entrenched provisions follows that procedure. And indeed, we have already done other amendments in the past, particularly with respect to some provisions relating to citizenship and other things have been done in the past in '96 and subsequent to that as well. We have done some amount of amendments on the non-entrenched provisions. And so, for me, those provisions did not come as part of the difficulties that we were confronted with when Professor Mills initiated this whole amendment procedure. And I remember, I think Professor Sari, subsequent to the submission of the bill or thereabout went to the Supreme Court challenging the president's position. I remember something like that happened, but and we moved on from there. And so today, if that same person has been made the chair, obviously I know that once we have crossed that bridge, he has also moved on. His position has naturally moved on. And I'm impressed with he being at the driving seat because of his advocacy on the constitutional amendment issues and matters surrounding the constitution. So I'm impressed with he being the chairman. But the other members, I have not seen much of their involvement when it comes to advocacy. But I'm sure there are people with quality background, particularly Dr. Jofoto of the University of Ghana. I know him on a personal note, so I can speak for him. But for the other persons, I cannot tell. But that is not to say that they are less of quality materials or otherwise.
Right.
But just to say that
on 3FM,
express
the best in the morning.
my ignorance of their background.
Council, we have been on this road before. We have worked, Professor Fiajo, they put together their reports, their recommendations, everything else. And we just kept it on the shelves for it to gather dust. What gives you the hope that this will be a horse of a different color?
So I was really trying to read implications into the communication of the president to mean that they were to review what has already been done and not necessarily to reinvent the wheel. Because for me that would be a bit worrying for two reasons. First, because the president was the vice president at the time the review took place. Second, because we spent a lot of money. I remember I was part of some seminars and programs that the then secretary, Professor Raymond Atuba, was part of, and some of in fact, when the budget for the review, the initial one, was disclosed, well, literally everyone was alarmed that we spent that kind of money to do such a quality document, which at the time Professor Mills called excellent work, and then only for us to put it behind us as though nothing ever happened. For me, that would be too much of a worry. And so I'd rather, if they were to review what has already been done and then come out with possible recommendations for implementation, I think that would be more reasonable than a wholesale and indeed a fresh start from start. I think that would be too much of work, first of all, and it would be too much of expenditure considering what we have already spent in the past. And I do not think that would be an ideal thing to be done. And I foresee that not being the case.
I see. Now, before I let you go, the people of the Republic of Ghana are anxious. They want a certain kind of change to happen in our constitution. They say our constitution is not helping us well enough. Where do you stand on these comments?
I'm completely on all four with everyone who supports the amendment of the constitution. Indeed, there are lots of provisions that time and may not allow us to go into, but clearly we need an amendment of the constitution. We need amendment from all angles. And for me, one of the most exciting amendments that I look forward to is the possible abolishment of the regional ministers and the election of
the best in the morning.
Local government officials, and possibly a possible review of the presidential powers and the decoupling, the most popular one, the decoupling of the office of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. And maybe if you were to think through the recommendations made by President Kufuor to make the presidency a one-term, making it maybe 7 years or something like that. I think these are very good. But there are a lot of tiny ones, minor ones that you may not be confronted with on your everyday life, but which needs serious look at. for me, when it comes to appointment to other constitutional bodies and the Electoral Commission, the Judiciary, the appointment to those offices, clearly, without doubt, we've seen from the previous government that leaving everything to discretion doesn't work well with us. If you have people like the former president in office, we may find ourselves in a very big problem, one day. And that, I think that should be a very good lesson for us, that we can never have reasonable people all the time in office. So we need to take a second look at some of these positions. A lot of positions need to be looked at.
I see.
And I think the previous, committee made strong recommendations to some of these matters. We can look at them from a dispassionate point of view, and I think we can come out with something solid for the next 30 years, possibly.
I see. Now, I want to touch base with you on the ministerial nominations and appointments that have flown around in the last few weeks. We've had our first set of ministers, finance, energy, Attorney General, Minister of Justice. Let me begin from your space. Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Ayine. What do you say?
I think Professor Ayine is a quality material. I think his credentials, clearly, undoubtedly, one of the best that we could have in the seat. Maturity, I think he comes out, maybe it's relative to other names that came up. I think he has that sense of maturity to steer the affairs and lead the bar. And I think he has, even though he has a problem with the General Legal Council, which is going to be a member of, not a member of the council, but of the judiciary. So,
the best in the morning.
If you remember the comment he made, I think during the presidential election petition, which is what I believe took him to the General Legal Council. I think that if you take that one out, Professor Ayine is probably one of the best that we could have to lead, particularly because he has already served as an apprentice, being a deputy. I believe that he has learned so much to come to the main seat with a lot of experience and a lot of academic quality academic background, and so he should be able to perform better than what we had in the past. Vindictiveness and selective administration of justice, and I foresee better administration of our justice delivery system. Maybe some form of reform, particularly with our criminal justice system. I expect that from Professor Ayine.
I see.
Particularly because he has lived under these 8 years complaining, but all of us complaining about the kind of AG that we had, and so if those experiences do not lead us to quality reform, I would be disappointed.
Let's go to the other ministries. Finance, there's energy, and then some agencies have also received new bosses, Eduji Tamaklo, for example, and we see the lawyers making a lot of waves within the list that have been mentioned. MFA had Castle as well, quite a couple of lawyers in there. Is John Mahama ticking the right boxes as president?
Johnny, if you look at the appointments, what excites me is that the president is appointing new faces and youthful persons for almost all the offices that so far has come out. Of course, a few exceptions, but almost everybody else that has been appointed, you see, is under 50. And for me, that brings me a lot of excitement that there's a recognition of what the youth can do in support of this administration, and indeed to change the narrative of Ghana. Considering we've had the aged ones steering the affairs and things haven't gone down well with us as a nation. Where we stand now, clearly we can conclude that we haven't done much for our national development and for our collective good, well-being. So with this new youth that is taking literally the entire second Mahama administration
Right.
By storm, I expect that we would also be able, for the first time, we should be able to say to the world that the Ghanaian youth has arrived and that we are willing to change the entire development path of Ghana for our collective good.
I see.
I think this is a test case for all of us. If you're unable to do this, we would have also failed our generation.
The best in the morning.
I see. Now, there's a conversation about using the strength of the youth and the wisdom of the old, trying to mix and match it. So far, if you look at the appointment that have been made, a lot of young people and young at heart people. And the question is that when are we bringing the old people in there? Should they even be part of the team to begin with?
I foresee a lot of the older ones moving into ambassadorial positions and heading boards and other institutions. So, in my mind, this would be more of a supervisory role for the older generation to see how best we could also, as youth, how best we can do for Mother Ghana. And I think you can never take away the experiences of the old. You can never take away the wisdom of the old. So they would have a role to play. I expect them to have a role to play in this administration for all of us. Indeed, I do not think that ditching the older generation will be a good thing to do, and I do not see that happening. But clearly, putting the youth at the forefront speaks a different language.
Justice Abdullah, thank you very much indeed. And in regards to all the guys at the Crown Legal Consult,
we are deeply grateful for your continued support for Crown Legal Bureau.
Thank you, sir. We're grateful. Sami Obing is with the Parliamentary Network Africa. He is the chief servant there. He joins us on the phone line now. Sami, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
This chairman of the appointment committee in Parliament, people have said that he is not strong, he's weak, and he's not doing the work the way the work has been done. What do you say? You have been in Parliament, you're reported, and now you are a think tank on parliamentary issues in Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world. What do you think?
I think it is very, very early to start making such conclusions on the chairman and the appointments committee as a whole. You know, this is a new parliament. The standing orders of parliament requires the first deputy speaker to be the chair of the appointments committee. So we have a new first deputy speaker who is warming himself into the new role a few days after, a parliament has been inaugurated. We have almost a complete overhaul of the appointments committee. First, by way of the members of the standing members of the committee, but also by way of the structure, because the new standing orders of parliament has, proffered a different structure at setting up the appointment committee from what it used to be, which now requires nine standing members who are constant appointment committee members most of them by virtue of their roles. So, for example, minority leader, deputy majority leader, the first deputy speaker, the whips, and all of that. But it also requires that, depending on who is being vetted, subject matter experts from the subject matter committees, so the leadership of the subject matter committees plus two other members should be joining the appointments committee. And here we are, even with this parliament, those subject matter committees have not been established. So there is a lot of trying to fix things within that appointments committee. And in trying to fix that and finding their feet, they had to vet for three very important roles: finance, energy, and
AG.
Yes, and exactly,
right.
Attorney General, Minister for Justice. Major ones. And so I think it's maybe very unfair to start labeling the chairman and the committee as a whole at this point. I think the feedback is one that they should be taking into consideration and acting upon them. And I expect that they will be better at their work, with the coming days.
This culture of backbenchers, first-time MPs holding press conferences to take a dig at leadership, how does that sound to you?
Well, Parliament is as much about the rules, procedures, practice, and all of that as it is also about strategy, right? So various caucuses would usually get into a particular parliamentary tenure or a meeting of Parliament with completely different strategies. You have instances where, for example, caucuses will decide that because we are in the minority, every single matter that comes up, if we lose the battle on the floor, let's take to press conferences to be able to address the matter. And maybe for these press conferences, we'll have them addressed by leadership of committees, backbenchers, whatever. It's really a matter of their strategy. In executing this strategy, remember also that they are trying to appeal to the Ghanaian people, to seek empathy, essentially, from the Ghanaian people. And if you are implementing a strategy towards an objective, you usually measure it on the back of whether the objective or the outcome you're seeking to achieve have been truly, achieved. And so I really do not see anything wrong with anybody holding a press conference and expressing self. They've got their freedom to express themselves outside of the chamber and outside of committee proceedings. What that expression does to them, their caucus, their individual parliamentary progress and what have you, is one that is determined by the ultimate audience that they are trying to reach and how the audience takes the message.
And what do we want to see more of the chairman? I mean, vetting will come on today, as we've been told. What should he do differently from what he did before that the people were not so excited about?
By our parliamentary practice and procedures, chairpersons of committees essentially play the role of the Right Honourable Speaker at plenary. Now, what is the role of the Right Honourable Speaker at plenary? It's supposed to be an unbiased, independent umpire, so to speak, in a conversation, moderate the conversation, ensure that all the necessary voices are heard. The only difference is that at the level of committees, because they are chaired by members of Parliament, they have the right as MPs to also be involved in the conversation, unlike Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker at plenary is not supposed to participate in debates. He's supposed to ensure that he's moderating, giving everybody the opportunity when votes are to be taken. He ensures that it goes on quite well. He interprets the rules, ensures that people who are out of order are ruled out of order, people who need opportunity to speak are given the opportunity to speak. And committee heads or chairpersons at committee must also adhere to the same principle, except that they can also participate. They can also vote, unlike Mr. Speaker. For which reason, there are a few things that are standard expectations of a committee chair. First is that, remember that every committee before they meet in public will usually have an in-camera conversation and decide on the modalities and the arrangements for the meeting. Usually the same also for plenary. Mr. Speaker will meet with the leadership of the various caucuses to agree on the modalities. It is important that the chairman is able to enforce those modalities that they have collectively agreed to. So maybe the modality says that, okay, we want to focus on using 2 hours per nominee. In using the 2 hours per nominee, we expect that each member of the committee is able to use 10 minutes for his question time. And for me, I think that's one of the things that they must be considering, how they are allocating time for people to ask their questions or to engage the nominee rather than determining the number of questions. So if we are a committee of 15, because the subject matter expert or committee folks have been added to us, and we know that we want to allocate 2 hours for the vetting, and we are agreeing that, or 2.5 hours, we are agreeing that everybody has 10 minutes. If within your 10 minutes and you can work it out properly and ask 100 questions within your 10 minutes, that's your own cup of tea. If within your 10 minutes also and your question is laced with so much innuendos and intros, and because of that, you spend 7 minutes of that, and 3 minutes is all the time that minister designates or nominee has to use in answering the question. So be it, because in many jurisdictions we see that. So the timer is out there. You are seeing that the countdown is on for you to be able to know how much time you need. So chairman needs to be able to enforce the things that they agree as going to be the rules. Number two is that we really, when we are watching these proceedings, we don't expect to see a chairman who overly tries to shield a nominee. That's really not the essence of the vetting. We are not looking at a situation where a nominee is made to feel like, because I belong to the same political party as you are, every question that I think will embarrass you, embarrass our party, I have to rule it out and all of that. So that also, we must allow, nominees are capable enough. They can respond to certain questions. They should be allowed to respond to those questions. We also want to see a chairman who holds the balance of power, holds the balance, I should say, at the committee, where both majority and minority have the opportunity to express themselves within the agreed rules of the game. But also a chairman who accepts himself as a chairman. He's not a co-chairman. Nobody's co-chairing this committee with him, because that's not what the rule says. He is the chairman of the committee, and so other members of the committee must respect him as chairman of the committee and must accord him that leverage as the one leading the committee. So the unnecessary interjections, the playing to the gallery just because the cameras are on, and the unnecessary politicking, I think that filibustering and all of that should cease, because we are watching. And this is the beauty of opening up Parliament to the public. The whole concept of open Parliament that those of us at Parliamentary Network Africa and our likes preach. Because now we are not only going to have the Appointments Committee doing this, on our screens. We are going to have other committees of Parliament also open to the public this way by the new standing orders of Parliament. And we must see chairpersons and leaders of committees doing things absolutely right. We want to see nominees being given the full opportunity to show us exactly the direction that they want to take this country, supporting the vision of His Excellency the President, because these are going to be a few 60 people who, together with His Excellency the President, will be determining our collective futures, our collective, destiny, so to speak, sometimes even for generations unborn, and we need to make sure that we hear them, and we hear them talking about what they can do differently to make Ghana better.
Sammy, I thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful.
My pleasure.
That's Mr. Sammy Obeng of the Parliamentary Network Africa. It's a think tank, and we're grateful that they joined us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.